Dapo was the kind of boy who had everything. He was born into a rich family in Lagos Island, where the sun always seemed to shine on their white mansion. His father, Chief Alaba, was one of the richest men in the city. His mother, Lady Tenny, treated Dapo like a prince. They gave him love, hugs, and laughter. But they also gave him things. Big things. On his 18th birthday, Dapo was given a diamond watch that sparkled brighter than stars. On his 20th birthday, they gave him a whole mansion of his own, just down the road from theirs. And not just any mansion. This one had 12 bedrooms, 3 swimming pools, and a cinema inside. He had cars, friends, and freedom. Yet, even with all the money and luxury, Dapo stayed humble. He was kind to his drivers, greeted the security guards every morning, and gave gifts to people during Christmas. But his heart had no space for love yet. He wanted to chase his dreams first. He wanted to become a music producer, travel the world, and make a name for himself, not just live off his father's money. And so every morning, Dapo woke up early to jog around the estate. He wore simple clothes, black joggers and a white vest, with a towel on his neck. He didn't need attention. He just liked the wind on his face and the sound of his feet hitting the road. Far away from Dapo's perfect world, in a broken-down slum called Idade, lived a girl named Pepper NP. Her real name was Sod, but everyone called her Pepper NP because of how she dressed and walked. Her clothes were always sharp. Her wigs always bounced. Her heels made click-clack sounds as she walked, like a rich girl in a movie. But it was all fake. Pepper NP lived with her mother and 3 siblings in a room no bigger than a bathroom. The room was always hot, crowded with buckets, clothes, and the smell of kerosene. The outside bathroom had no roof. They shared it with 10 other families. The only mirror in the house was cracked. But Pepper NP had a plan. She was tired of suffering, tired of watching rich girls on Instagram get gifts from men who didn't know their names, tired of hiding her hunger behind red lipstick. She believed the only way out was to marry a rich man. And to do that, she had to pretend she was rich too. Every morning, Pepper NP did the same thing. She woke up at 5 a.m., fetched water from the broken pipe, and bathed quickly while looking over her shoulder. Then she dried herself with an old towel and rubbed cream from a reused bottle. She wore second-hand designer clothes, cleaned her cheap wig, sprayed perfume she bought from the roadside, and painted her face until she no longer looked like Sod from Idade. She stepped out like a queen. She walked down the dirty street, past goats and boys playing draft, and entered a bus. She paid with borrowed money and dropped off at Dapo's estate gate, smiling at the security men as if she lived there. Then she walked in confidently and sat near the garden where rich people jogged. She watched them carefully. She saw one man that caught her attention. He was tall, brown-skinned, and walked like he didn't care who watched him. He didn't wear gold chains or loud clothes, yet he looked expensive. Something about him was different. It was Dapo. Pepper NP noticed that Dapo jogged every morning at the same time, wearing simple clothes. He didn't bring bodyguards. He didn't stop to talk to anyone. And most annoying of all, he didn't even notice her. She couldn't believe it. She tried many things. One morning, she wore a tight gym outfit and started jogging in front of him. She bounced as she ran. Another day, she accidentally dropped her water bottle in his path. Still, he didn't look at her twice. Pepper NP felt invisible. But she didn't stop. She did it for 7 days straight. Every morning, she came out in her best clothes, jogging ahead of him or sitting on a bench stretching her legs. But Dapo never gave her more than one glance. He wasn't falling for it, and that made her even more determined. On the 8th day, something unexpected happened. Pepper NP saw Dapo entering the big supermarket inside the estate. She followed him quietly. He walked through the aisles, picking groceries, milk, bread, fruit, and soap. He didn't take much. He was about to pay when Pepper NP walked quickly to the counter and whispered to the cashier. "I'll pay for everything," she said. The cashier looked surprised. "Are you sure?" "Yes," she said, handing over the money she had borrowed, money her mother kept for her younger sister's school fee. Dapo turned around, confused. "Wait, why?" She smiled sweetly. "You dropped your card last time, didn't you?" Dapo blinked. "I've never met you." Pepper NP laughed nervously. "Well, I just wanted to be kind." Dapo didn't know what to say. It had never happened to him before. A girl paying for him? He watched her leave the store with grace and confusion. He followed her out, and for the first time, he spoke properly. "Wait," he said, stopping beside her near the car park. "What's your name?" "Pepper NP," she said proudly. He chuckled. "That's not a real name." She shrugged. "It works." He smiled. "Thanks for earlier." She nodded and walked away, her heart beating fast. The plan was working. From that day, Dapo became curious about her. He looked for her the next morning, and there she was, sitting by the fountain. He waved. She waved back. They talked for a while. Nothing serious. Just simple things like favorite songs and the best snacks. She said she lived with her cousin in the estate. Dapo didn't ask too many questions. They started meeting more often. At first, by accident. Then on purpose. Dapo enjoyed talking to her. She made him laugh. She asked smart questions. She wasn't like the other girls who only talked about shopping or fame. Pepper MP found herself enjoying his company too. He wasn't like the men she chased. He didn't try to show off. He listened. He cared. He made her forget she was pretending. One evening, they sat under a big mango tree, talking for hours. That was when Dapo told her something honest. "I don't want a girlfriend right now," he said. She nodded. "Why?" "I'm too young. I want to focus on my dream. I want to make music, travel, build something real." Pepper MP felt sad but respected it. She didn't want to lose his trust. So they stayed friends. Close friends. One sunny afternoon, they were playing a question game. Dapo loved games like that. "My turn," he said. "Tell me one lie you've told that you've never said out loud." Pepper MP froze. She looked down at her hands. She could lie again, but something inside her was tired. She had come to care for Dapo too much. So she said the truth. "I lied about where I live," she whispered. Dapo raised his eyebrows. "What do you mean?" "I don't live in this estate. I come from Idade. It's a slum. My house has no ceiling fan. I borrow everything. My clothes, my perfume, even my smile." Dapo didn't speak for a while. Then he laughed. A big, real laugh. Pepper MP blinked. "You're laughing. You really thought I'd hate you for that?" he said, smiling. "Do you know how many fake people live in this estate? You at least have the guts to tell the truth." She burst into tears. "I thought you'd be angry." He wiped her tears with his towel. "No," he said. "I'm proud of you." Then he stood up, walked into his house, and came back with a white envelope. "What's that?" she asked. "A gift," he said. Inside the envelope was a check, Nigerian naira 10 million. Pepper MP screamed. "Dapo!" He gave her another paper, a deed. "And this is the key to one of my father's houses. You deserve to breathe clean air." She couldn't stop crying. In one moment, everything changed. The girl who came from dust was now standing in gold. After the day Dapo gave Pepper NP the check and house papers, everything changed. She didn't need to pretend anymore. She moved into the small but beautiful house that sat at the edge of the estate. It had 2 floors, tile bathrooms, soft beds, and a kitchen that smelled of fresh paint. Pepper NP walked around the house barefoot, running her fingers along the walls, smiling at everything. Dapo had done something no one had ever done for her. He saw her, not the fake clothes or borrowed perfume, but the real her. And he didn't run away. She started sleeping peacefully. No more gunshots in the slum at night. No more leaking roof when it rained. No more sharing a toilet with 20 people. But even in her joy, Pepper NP felt afraid. "Why me?" she asked Dapo one evening. They were sitting on the floor of her new living room, sharing ice cream and music. "You've helped me more than you know," Dapo said softly. "You remind me to stay grounded, to care about people, to see beyond glitter." She looked at him, heart beating fast. "But I didn't give you anything." He smiled. "You gave me truth. That's more than most people can give." That night, Pepper NP wrote in her diary for the first time. On the first page, she wrote, "He gave me the world, and I gave him the truth." Is that love? Dapo started coming over more often. Sometimes in the mornings after his jog, sometimes late in the evening after meetings. They watched movies, played music, and talked. Their friendship became deeper. They laughed more, but they also cried more. One night, there was no light. They lit candles and played another question game. Let's go deep, Dapo said. One question each, no lies allowed. Pepperempe smiled. Deal. Dapo asked, what scares you the most? She looked at the candlelight. Being forgotten, dying, and no one remembering I lived. She asked him, have you ever wanted to run away from your life? Dapo nodded slowly. All the time. Sometimes I feel trapped in gold. Everyone thinks I'm happy because I have money. But inside, I'm searching. Pepperempe reached out and held his hand. I see you. Dapo squeezed her hand. I see you too. They sat in silence for a long time. But both of them felt the fire growing in their hearts, quiet but strong. Another day, they were driving around the estate in Dapo's favorite black Benz. He told her stories from his childhood, how his mom made him wear a bata at 6 a.m. for morning prayers. They laughed until their stomachs hurt. Then he said something that made the air shift. I'm thinking of traveling soon. Pepperempe blinked. For how long? Maybe a year. Maybe more. I want to study sound engineering abroad. She smiled, but her heart dropped. That's good. That's very good. He looked at her. You don't mean it. I do. You should follow your dreams. But that night, when she got home, she sat in the shower and cried. She didn't know why it hurt so much. She wasn't his girlfriend. He told her from the beginning. But still it hurt. A week later, they sat in the garden behind Dapo's house. She had been quiet all day. I need to tell you something, she said. Dapo turned toward her. I've been lying to myself, she whispered. I think I love you. The words fell out like water from a broken pot. Dapo didn't speak for a long time. Then he gently said, I care about you. Deeply. But I can't give you what you want right now. She nodded. I know. It didn't make the pain any smaller. 2 days later, Pepperempe invited Dapo over for dinner. She cooked a goosey soup and pounded yam with her own hands. She wore a simple dress and wrapped her hair in a red scarf. She looked like the girl from I'd Aid, but brighter. They ate and laughed. Then they played one last game. It was a small card game where the winner got to ask the other person anything. Pepperempe won. My question, she said with a small smile, what's the kindest thing you've done that no one knows about? Dapo looked at her, eyes warm. Giving you that house. Not because of what it is, but because you didn't ask. Pepperempe reached into her drawer and brought out the check and deed. I want to give it back, she whispered. I want you to know. I never did this for things. I did it because you're the first person who made me feel safe. Dapo took her hand. No. It's yours. Keep it. You've earned it. He walked to the door, paused, and said, Don't lose yourself. You're not a project. You're a whole person. Time passed. Slowly but surely, Pepperempe started fixing her life. She enrolled in a small fashion design school. She stopped chasing men on Instagram. She spent her days designing dresses and her nights sewing. She had a purpose now. Dapo supported her quietly, sometimes with advice, sometimes with money, but mostly with encouragement. He came for her first fashion showcase and clapped louder than anyone. One morning, Dapo's mother, Lady Tenny, visited her. I've heard of you, the woman said softly, stepping into her house. You've changed my son. I don't know what you did, but thank you. Pepperempe stood quietly. Lady Tenny looked around the house and smiled. I want to invite you to live with us. You don't need to be alone here. Pepperempe shook her head. I'm fine here, but I'd love to visit more. From that day, she became like their second daughter. She helped clean the garden, arrange books in Chief Alaba's study, even cooked soup on Sundays. The staff grew to love her. Dapo's parents called her our Pepperempe. And still, her heart waited for the day Dapo would look at her differently. Pepperempe becomes a daughter of the house. Months passed. Dapo started preparing for his trip abroad. Pepperempe helped him pack, folded his shirts, labeled his bags. She smiled while doing it, even when it broke her inside. At the airport, she hugged him tightly. I'll miss you, she said, voice shaking. I'll miss you too, Dapo said. Promise you'll call. Every week. Promise you'll come back? I promise. He smiled, touched her cheek, and walked away. Pepperempe stood there, watching him disappear into the gates, her heart quiet and heavy. Back at the house, everything felt empty. She stopped going out much. Her fashion school became her world. She kept in touch with Depo. They talked often. He sent her photos of snowy streets and music studios. She sent him pictures of dresses and jollof rice. But with time, the calls became shorter. The messages came less. He was living his dream, and she was trying not to lose hers. One day, Pepperenpie was at the estate's supermarket when she overheard something strange. Two girls were whispering near the milk section. "Have you heard?" one said. "That girl who lives in the small house, Pepperenpie or whatever, she used to fake her life to catch rich guys." "Really?" "Yes. She's not even rich. She used to sleep in a slum." Pepperenpie stood frozen. Another girl added, "I heard she was Depo's toy. Just one of those girls. He helps and leaves." Pepperenpie blinked back tears. She walked out of the store and went home. That night, she didn't eat. She didn't sew. She just lay on her bed, staring at the ceiling fan. It felt like the walls were closing in. Depo called her that night, but she didn't answer. He texted, "Are you okay?" She replied, "I'm fine." But she wasn't. Her heart was breaking in ways even she couldn't understand. She didn't want to be a story. She wanted to be someone real. And now, she didn't even know who she was anymore. Depo's new life was fast. Faster than he expected. Studying sound engineering in Canada meant early classes, late studio nights, and constant networking. The snow was cold, the food was strange, but the freedom felt fresh. He met people who didn't care who his father was. People who liked him for his work, for his beats, for his voice. But something always felt missing. Each time his phone rang, and it was not Pepperenpie, his chest tightened a little. He would scroll through old photos, the day she made him try pepper soup, the first dress she ever sewed, the note she left in his luggage that said, "Don't forget me." But as months passed, their calls became shorter. He noticed her voice changing. It didn't sparkle the same way. Sometimes, she would laugh in a way that didn't reach her heart. "Are you okay?" he would ask. "I'm fine," she would always say. He believed her, until the day he stopped hearing from her at all. No calls, no messages, just silence. And that silence hurt more than 1,000 lies. Pepperenpie was lonely, and silence became her enemy. She still lived in the estate, but now her name was heavy. The whispers in the air were sharp. "That's the girl Depo left behind. She used to pretend. She's not real." Even people she greeted before now looked away. One day, while she was returning from fashion school, her sewing bag broke open near the estate gate. A tall, dark-skinned man in a green shirt helped her pick up her thread spools and needles. "Careful," he said, smiling. She looked up. He wasn't rich, but he was neat, kind, and strong. His name was Corid. They began talking more after that. At first, just hello and goodbye. Then he started walking her home. He bought Acura for her sometimes. He fixed her leaking kitchen tap. He didn't ask too many questions. He just showed up when she needed help. She didn't plan to like him. But the heart doesn't always ask for permission. After nearly a year abroad, Depo returned home. Taller, wiser, a little tired of everything. He didn't tell anyone he was coming. He wanted to surprise Pepperenpie. He imagined how she would scream and jump into his arms. He even bought her a necklace from Paris, a tiny golden heart. He went straight to her house. He knocked. No answer. He waited a bit, then called her phone. No response. Just as he turned to leave, he saw her walking up the street laughing. But not alone. Corid was beside her, holding a bag of food. His hand brushed against hers. They looked close. Depo stood still. Pepperenpie saw him. Her smile froze. "Depo!" she whispered, shocked. He walked toward them. "Hi!" Corid greeted him politely and stepped back. Pepperenpie didn't speak. "You weren't picking my calls," Depo said softly. "Now I know why." "It's not what you think," she said quickly. "Then what is it?" She looked down. "I was lonely." Depo nodded. "Right." He turned and walked away. She didn't follow. Depo didn't go home that night. He slept in his car near the beach. He didn't cry, but he felt something heavy settle in his chest like the wind had left his lungs. Back at home, Pepperenpie sat alone. Corid knocked. She didn't open the door. She stared at the necklace Depo had dropped on the floor. She picked it up and placed it on her dresser beside her diary. Her eyes burned, but no tears came. The next day, Dapo came to her house again. This time, not as a friend, not as a lover, but as someone searching for truth. "Tell me," he said, standing in her living room. "Did you ever love me? Or was I just your way out?" Her lips shook. "I loved you." He nodded. "Then why didn't you wait?" She bit her lip. "Because I didn't think you'd come back. I always promised I would. But promises don't keep people warm at night, Dapo." He looked around her house, his father's house. He saw the drawings on the wall, the fabric she left on the floor, the food on the table, 2 plates. He turned to leave. She called after him. "Are you taking the house back?" He stopped. "No. It was a gift. I don't take back gifts." And he left. 2 weeks passed. They didn't speak. Dapo's mother called Pepperenpie to check on her. She sounded cold. "Did you really move on that fast?" she asked. "Even before my son came back?" Pepperenpie didn't know how to explain. Then rumors began to spread that she and Khalid were engaged. It wasn't true, but nobody asked her. They just believed what they wanted. Even the fashion school stopped inviting her to events. People whispered behind her back. Some said she used charm on Dapo. Some said she was a gold digger. The air around her grew thick with judgment. She avoided the estate's supermarket now. Even the security men stopped greeting her. Her diary pages were now filled with broken thoughts. She wrote, "I wanted love. I found silence. I wanted to be seen. I became invisible again." One morning, she returned home and saw something strange. An envelope on her doorstep. Inside was a handwritten letter. "You don't owe me anything, but I hope you find peace. Whatever happens, remember, once upon a time we were true. Dapo." She sat on the floor and cried for the first time in months. Days turned into weeks. Then, something happened that shocked everyone. Pepperenpie's house was put up for sale. Chief Aliba's company needed to liquidate some properties, and the legal papers had Pepperenpie listed as a renter, not an owner. The house wasn't fully transferred. It had been a gift, yes, but not in law. She went to Dapo's house, heart pounding. Lady Tenny opened the gate, but didn't smile. "I need to speak to Dapo," Pepperenpie said. "He doesn't want to see you," she replied. "But the house? Legally, it belongs to the family." "Please," Pepperenpie whispered, her voice breaking. "I have nowhere else to go." Lady Tenny looked at her long and hard. Then she said, "You had everything. You were almost part of this family. But you lost it." The gate closed slowly. Pepperenpie stood there, in the same clothes she had worn when she first came to the estate. Cheap wig, simple sandals, broken heart. Only this time, there was no Dapo jogging past. No love to follow. No lie to hide behind. Dapo watched her from the balcony. He had heard everything. He wanted to run to her. But he didn't. He still loved her. That hadn't changed. But something in him had broken. Not because she found someone else, but because she didn't trust him to return. If love needs proof every day to survive, then maybe it wasn't love after all. He walked back into the house, opened his drawer, and pulled out her first letter to him. "I don't want diamonds. I want someone to believe in me, even when I'm quiet." He folded it and placed it under his pillow. Pepperenpie left the estate that night. She didn't tell anyone where she was going. She packed only what she could carry. She left the necklace Dapo gave her on the doorstep. And as she walked past the gates, she whispered to herself, "This time, I will not chase love. I will become someone I love first." She disappeared into the early morning mist. No one saw her again for a very long time. If you have not subscribed to my channel, you might not hear my voice again, but if you are, then you are growing every day. Check my page for more interesting stories. Thanks for watching.